Hi, I'm Susan with Soul Awakening Solutions, and this is the podcast where I offer tips and tools to empower you on your spiritual awakening journey. Today, I want to talk about triggers and not the ones on guns, but I'm going to tell you your triggers are the same thing. They're meant to fire you up. The whole purpose of a trigger is to set you on fire. It's to open and awaken some part of you that is ready to change. You've made this arrangement. You've made this agreement with someone to transform. And that person, that situation, that place that is triggering you is giving you the opportunity to shift. And if you can tap into that trigger, if you can decide, I am going to use this to change me, it's instantaneous. It's that simple. Just choose. In any moment, you're going to be triggered by so many things. We have so many opportunities to change, to shift, to grow. And you can choose that moment. It's, I'm going to give you an example. So if you're finding yourself the same person keeps showing up over and over and over in your life, ask yourself, who does this person remind me of? Because I'm going to tell you, that's already being answered. You're going, she's just like mom. She's just like dad. He's just like that bully in school. Over and over, you have continuously throughout your life, you have chosen to have the same people show up over and over, the same triggers. And the more power there is, the more volatile emotion you feel, the more close you are to that shift, to that change. Every time you get triggered, it doesn't numb you down, unless, of course, you're doing what I used to do, and that's use drugs or medication or something to keep you out of that vibration, out of feeling that. Even sometimes it's even possible to use meditation or yoga or all of those wonderful transformational processes to avoid transforming the trigger. That situation, that person will keep showing up over and over and over until you sit with that emotion, until you feel it and you say, what is underneath this? What is beneath this? All of you have, I'm sure, seen this iceberg. Ha. So an iceberg is the thing that sunk the Titanic. And the whole idea behind that metaphor of hitting an iceberg, yes, it's a metaphor. It may have actually happened, but it's a metaphor. It's created so that we can look at it and say, I am the ship. I am the captain of this ship, and I've just hit an iceberg. And I can either choose to let the ship go down and patch all of the holes in it with some drugs or some medication, or maybe somebody who makes me feel better about it, somebody who tells me how right I am to feel like I'm sinking, or I can watch what's underneath as I go down. Allow yourself to drop in, become the iceberg. Watch. I got triggered because I feel angry because something happened that awakened an awareness in me. So first thing you want to do is be grateful. I'm triggered. Yay, get excited. Get excited about being triggered. I got triggered and now I feel. Now I'm awake because I'm feeling. I have those emotions and I'm feeling that makes me awake and aware. I don't even need to know what I'm feeling or what triggered me anymore because I'm already moving, diving into what's being revealed. Something new is being birthed through that trigger. So how do I do this? How do I transform that trigger into what's being revealed? I allow it. I allow it to happen. I allow it to naturally rise up and show me what's going on. Get angry. If you're triggered into anger, dropping into gratitude and appreciation and all of those things, you're wasting the trigger. You're just fire off another bullet because you're just emptying out anything that's actually useful to you. That trigger is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to awaken a new awareness within you. A new gift is opening up. So first off, thank you, trigger. Glad you're here. Now I feel anger. Now I feel something. I want to shift that feeling. Get excited about it. Anger and excitement, they live in the same place in our body. They're both that visceral emotion. That is really your body getting excited. Your body saying, yay, something new is about to happen. Connect with your body. Ask yourself, where am I feeling that trigger? Right now, I'm feeling a little bit of nervousness. Have I gone off track? Am I really making sense? Is anybody even watching this video? So all of those things are giving me a new opportunity. I just got triggered by a statement in a coaching session that I was receiving. So I'm in a coaching session and somebody says their bipolar mom, they were raised by a bipolar mom and a narcissistic dad. Got to tell you, I was the bipolar mom. So I was the one who was in and out of hospital, in and out of mental illness. I was that hopeless human being that nobody is ever going to be able to save. They were right. Psychiatrists could not save me. Medication could not save me. Drugs could not save me. What saved me was me. I decided I was going to take it on myself. I was going to dive into every trigger, everything that came at me, and I was going to see, what does this mean to me? What does this shift in my life? It's none of my business what the psychiatrist thinks. It's none of my business what the doctors think. It's none of my business what you think of this video. It really isn't. It's my business what I feel. My thoughts aren't my business. My thoughts are something that help me to identify with the feeling. They give me the opportunity to identify with the feeling and then to communicate it. They're not there for me to use to create something. The energy of my emotions is what's going to create something new. So as soon as I feel an emotion, it's time to jump into it, to dive into it, to take that and let it open something. Let it be the seed that pushes up through the soil and grows a new tree. The thoughts will come later. It wasn't the thought at all that triggered you. It wasn't even what happened or what the person said. Wonderful. I'm grateful they shared that they were raised by a bipolar mom and a narcissistic dad. It means my kids know that I raised them. And I know, and I've acknowledged all along that changed things in their lives. Do I regret that for them? It's not my job. It is not my job to hold on to their regrets. I don't have any for me. I know I chose this path. I chose to be suicidal. I chose to attempt suicide. By the way, I didn't succeed, but I do identify very strongly. I am now a suicide survivor. So I recognize that I have lived my entire life with something deciding that my life was not valuable enough to live. I needed to medicate it. I needed to shut it down. I needed to call my original awakening. The first time anybody ever identified me as bipolar, I was going through a spiritual awakening. So surprise, bipolar is a spiritual awakening. Nobody has ever told me, here's a blood test. Yep, that proves you're bipolar. What was happening was I was so deeply connected to two poles. I wasn't able, and that's the masculine and the feminine, those two poles that are supposed to be me. I was able to easily move between the two of them, but I was doing it unconsciously. When I started to transform my triggers, when I started to see what that trigger means to me, then I could actually consciously move between those masculine and feminine. I could jump into my masculine and say, okay, I need to get this done. And I could jump out into that power. I could drop into my feminine and I could say, I need to tune in. I need to tune into my soul. I need to tap into my intuition. I need to recognize I stopped needing to be on hypervigilant mode because I can tune in there. And so can you. You can tune in to that hypervigilance that comes up with PTSD, another label they give me. That hypervigilance that comes up there, that's really your intuition screaming at you that you need to drop into the feminine and see what's here, because that means there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for growth. There's an opportunity for awareness. It's time to let go of the idea that I need to change whoever triggered me. Whoever or whatever triggered me, Thank you. Thank you so much, because I can't change you. It's none of my business. What you're doing or why you're triggered or what's changing you, that's none of my business. What's my business is when I go into me and I change me. When I come back in and I say, okay, I'm feeling like I was that bipolar mom. There's a time when that would have triggered all sorts of anxiety and fear and shame and guilt. Gone, gone, gone. None of those are mine because I transcended it. I chose. I chose to dive into me, to stop trying to repair my children, to repair the mother that they had. I'm not their mother. I'm me. I am in their life, in the moments that we connect and get together. Sure, I'm their mother and I'm all the things that that means to them. But in my life, I'm me. I'm the person who survived that. I'm the person who made the choice, and it's a choice. I can choose bipolar or I can choose spiritual awakening. Which one do I want to define that jumping back and forth between those two poles? Which one do I want to treat? I want to treat my spiritual awakening. I want to treat my ascending soul, and I want to treat it. I want to give it joy. I want to transform it. I want to watch it awaken. I want to water it with the best of water. I like Reikiing my water. That's my favorite thing to do, is to pour all of this beautiful energy in. I drink water that has been sitting in sunlight. Put it in a glass, put it in a jar, sit it in sunlight. When I wake up in the morning, my water's been blessed with the sunrise. Why? Because that means that I can transform the water, and I know that the morning sun is being absorbed into my body through my water. Is that all over the place? Sure it is, because that's the way my mind works. That fast, moving that quickly through the trauma, through the trigger. So this is me saying, okay, well, I just got triggered because somebody reminded me that I had children who grew up with, I'm not going to decide whether their father was a narcissist or not. That's up to him. It's not even up to them, to be quite honest with you. That's his choice, his journey. I'm not labeling anybody. I was labeled bipolar and I adopted the label. I said, okay, I'll go to a psychiatrist. I'll get medication. I'll get treatment. I wasted years of my life. And I did. I wasted years of my life because I didn't know. I didn't know that really what I was awakening. Bipolar is really a spiritual awakening. And am I going to give you a disclaimer that says I'm not a doctor? If you are already talking to a psychiatrist and a doctor and all of that, go for it. If that's the journey you want to take, it's not the one I'm taking. I am not on a medical journey because I transformed it. I decided I can choose. I can choose the emotion that I want to feel. And I choose it by reprogramming my emotions, by reprogramming my thoughts, by saying, if I want to feel angry, I can go out and look for someone who reminds me of something I haven't healed yet. I can choose to do that, or I can choose to wait for it to show up. Shadow work is choosing to dive into that deep, dark spirit because you want to awaken, because you want to bring that awareness of your soul's energy. And every time I choose to dive into something, I always get something new out of it. I always awaken something new. I've decided to stop choosing to wait for a trigger to show up. You're in charge of the ship. You don't need to wait for the iceberg to reveal itself. You can choose. I choose to say, today, I really need to move this block out of the way. And what is the block? The block, maybe your block is that you feel too much shame. You feel too much anxiety. You feel disconnected. You're not disconnected with people. You're not disconnected with society. Unplug. Unplug for just a minute. Unplug. I gave this to my class this weekend and I love it. It was given to me by my guides. So take a cord and imagine that you are plugged in to a block. So this block is going to plug into a wall. This cord is going to plug in. Unplug them both. This is yours. This is yours. You can choose. I'm going to plug this into the heart of humanity, and then I'm going to plug my heart into the heart of humanity, or I'm going to plug this into the solar plexus of humanity. Got to tell you, it's important to be able to do both. I need to choose. If I want energy to bring me into the divine masculine energy, into that power energy, so that I can get things done, so that I can finish my taxes, which aren't done yet, by the way, or plug into get my books done. If I can put out a new YouTube video, I want to plug in to the solar plexus of humanity. I want to unplug and plug into the solar plexus of Mother Earth. You're going to plug into the pain energy. You're going to plug into the power energy. You're going to plug into the victim energy. That's what a trigger is. So choose. If you don't want to be in that trigger and you want to move directly into your heart, unplug, plug out of it. Say, okay, I know this is a trigger. This is for me. I'm going to put it in my little trigger box. I'm going to unplug from that, plug back into my heart, and be at peace. And I can go and I can choose that trigger later. That's what a resentment is. A resentment is a little box that you've stored away so that you can be triggered later. You chose to keep all those safe. They are important to you. I don't want to release all my resentments because some of them are important. I need to hold on to them. I need to be able to pull them out and say, okay, I need to work on this because I want to awaken another aspect of me. It doesn't have anything to do with the person, place, thing, situation you're holding on to that resentment. Until you let go of them being responsible for your triggers, until you let go of them owning any of that part of it, because they don't. They don't own it. Once you have it, it's in your little box. Put it in your trauma trigger box. Put it in your resentment box and let them go. They're not important. It's a memory that you can use to transform you. I can go into my memory box and I can remember a time when my mother did, and I'm not even going to go into story on that. That's important to me. And every time I pick it up, if I let go of my mother and know that she's passed, she's done her journey, she did what she needed to do at the time, I don't need to understand where she was at. I don't need to do that. If that's your practice to go into compassion and understanding, you're a very wise person, because that wisdom means I'm not only going to transform this trigger for me, I'm also not going to need to experience what she experienced on that end of it. I won't need to repeat the cycle of karma. We are stepping off the wheel of karma. And we're doing that by saying, I am going to own all of this trigger. I'm going to own that I put myself in the situation. I'm going to own that I did it for a purpose, that I had a reason for it, and that there is a gift inside it for me. That inside that transformational trigger box is a gift. It's a piece of my soul. And then I can tap into that gift anytime I want. It doesn't mean I need to let go of the trigger. If it comes up externally, I can go, oh, look at that. That's another trigger for my trigger box, and put it away. It's not necessary to respond to it in an inappropriate moment anymore. Again, emotional regulation disorder. Diagnose me with that one too. I know that I can change this by taking that moment, recognizing it, and saying, this belongs to me. This is mine. I don't need to own your part in it. If you want to be in judgment of me, if you want to be angry at the bipolar mother, I'm sitting right here. And oftentimes what happens when someone comes at me, they're angry at their mother. They're angry at their ex-wife. They're angry at their sister. They're angry at their teacher. All of that stuff that I trigger in people also comes in joy. They're seeing that beautiful soul that helped them to awaken. They're seeing that beautiful light that helped them to wake up. I'm all of those things, and I can choose to be all of those things for me. You are all of those things, and you can choose to be all of those things for you. That's my spiel. I hope you all have an amazing, angel blessed rest of your day. I know I will.